Hello students, welcome to my class. So today I am going to start some modern physics course. So this is meant for BSc final year students in India. So the course introduction today I will give you the syllabus, the books which I follow here. So the syllabus of this course will be divided into 5 units consisting of 7 chapters. So I am writing here all the 7 chapters and the brief syllabus. Today I will explain. So the first in this modern physics course will be, the first chapter is atomic physics and molecular physics. So the first opening chapter of this modern physics course will be the atomic physics. So obviously whenever we are talking about the modern physics, so in the modern physics we will study the physics relating to atoms, molecules and nucleus and particles. So where the classical physics is failed to explain the effects of atomics, effects of molecules, effects of the particles. So all the phenomena concerned to the atoms, molecules and nucleus and elementary particles. So any phenomena the classical physics is unable to explain. So now to understand this, all the effects due to these atoms and molecules, we need the new physics. That new physics we termed as a modern physics. So that first opening chapter itself is the atomic physics and molecular physics. In this atomic and molecular physics, first we will discuss about the fundamental theories. That is the Bohr's theory that you might know in a pre-college level, that even our 11th and 12th standard level. Bohr's theory and the drawbacks of Bohr's theory we will discuss. Then we will go for next model will be the Sommerfeld model. So what are the drawbacks faced by the Bohr? So some drawbacks, some failures, Sommerfeld theory will overcome, but still Sommerfeld theory will have some drawbacks or some failures. Then vector atom model we will discuss. There we will introduce the concept of spin of electron and we will discuss the famous experiment, Stern-Gerlach experiment we will discuss there. So vector atom model and Stern-Gerlach experiments, and also we will discuss coupling schemes, LS coupling and JJ coupling. So how to apply the same like a model for more than one electron systems. So Bohr's theory and Sommerfeld's theory applicable for single electron systems. If it's more than one electron, then vector atom model will help us. Then we will discuss with the help of this. So we'll try to understand what is Zeeman effect and what is Raman effect. So even if time permits, we'll discuss the Stark effect and Paschen-Beck effects. Okay, fine. So these are the atomic and molecular physics. Especially molecular physics means it is the Raman effect. Okay, the one of the famous experiment. So the Raman effect we will discuss. Then we will go to the next chapter will be the matter waves and the uncertainty principle. So the new idea. So you might know the mechanical waves and non-mechanical waves, that is light waves, but you may not know what is a matter wave. So that is proposed by the de Broglie hypothesis we will discuss. Then we will go for the confirmation for de Broglie hypothesis is the Davison and Germer experiment we will discuss. We will discuss the Compton effect and we will discuss the Heisenberg uncertainty principle and the applications of Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Okay, so after that we will start the one of the famous theory in the physics. Famous theory in the entire science you can say, that is the quantum theory. We will discuss the quantum mechanics. So we will not run the entire quantum mechanics here, that is a big topic. Okay, so briefly we will try to understand what is the quantum mechanics. So the first we will see the quantum mechanics, necessity of the quantum mechanics and what are the postulates. If any new theory comes, obviously there will be postulates. What are the postulates? And we will see the famous equation, that is Schrodinger equation. So Schrodinger's equation, time dependent equation and time independent equation, both we see. And the applications of the Schrodinger equation, we mainly will take the example of particle in a box, one dimensional box. So then another one will be harmonic oscillator. So particle in a box we will discuss completely, but harmonic oscillator we will discuss only qualitatively. So entire derivations we will try to avoid it. Okay, then we will go to the nuclear physics. In the nuclear physics it has the two topics. Some general properties of the nuclei. So then what is the radius, what is the mass, what is the size, and all these things we will discuss in the general properties of the nuclei. So nuclear dipole moments, nuclear spin, isospin concepts, and all those things. So mainly we will discuss here liquid drop model. So shell models, Based on this liquid drop model, try to understand the binding energies, mass defects, so and all those two concepts. Shell model will try to explain to understand the like spin of the molecules and all those things. So we'll see the next radioactivity. So radioactivity you might know already. There are numerous applications are there. So radioactivity applications in the medical field, in the biology field. So everywhere in the engineering field, the applications of radioactivities are there. So we'll discuss the radioactivity, natural radioactivity, artificial radioactivity, alpha decay, beta decay, and gamma decay. And mainly we'll discuss Gamow theory of alpha decay. So that alpha decay is studied by the famous scientist Gamow's theory. So then we'll try to understand what is a Geiger-Nuttall law. It is a quantum mechanical theory, but it is of course a little bit difficult, but we'll try to understand. Okay. So in the higher studies, when you go to the masters, so atomic and molecular physics, you will study as a one paper it is. So it is a huge chapter. Similarly, so matter waves and quantum mechanics, again it is a one entire paper in will come. So, okay. So nuclear physics, particle physics, and all these things are the so like very big topics. But what we will study here, it is like introduction, fundamentals of modern physics, like fundamental idea of nucleus, fundamental idea of the quantum mechanics, fundamental ideas of the atomic and molecular physics like Zeeman effect and Raman effect. So wherever it is necessary, we will follow the mathematics. Wherever it is difficult to understand the mathematics, we will avoid and we will try to understand the physics behind it. Okay. So the next one is also there. Okay, guys, in the process we have two more chapters left. So crystal structure is the sixth topic. In this crystal structure, what we'll discuss, first we'll define what is a solid. So perfect crystal, what is the meaning of amorphous crystal? So that type of we'll discuss. Then we'll see the crystal structure is important for us. So in the crystal structure, we'll define what is the unit cell, that is a basic unit. That is unit cell we'll define, and we'll see the 7 types of crystal structure that is proposed by Bravais lattices. Then we'll go for the Miller indices. So to define the planes in a solid, in a crystal, then we'll go for the reciprocal lattice. So then we'll see the structure, how we'll see the structure, definitely by using the X-ray techniques, because the size of the planes, the distance between the plane to plane is comparable with the wavelength of the X-rays. So that's why we'll follow the diffraction techniques. So that is studied by the Bragg's. We'll see the Bragg's law there. Then techniques, experimental techniques. One is Lewis method and Powder method to know the internal structure, the interplanar distance, some different phenomena, some different physical properties of that crystal. Okay, this X-ray diffraction techniques will be helpful for us. Then we will go to the next important topic will be superconductivity. And this is completely new for you. You might know the conduction, electrical conduction, like Ohm's law and all those things. But this will be completely different. So there are some materials so which have the resistance completely zero materials. We'll see the what is the superconductivity. So the experimental facts related to the superconductivity we'll study first. Then Meissner effect. So one of the fundamental law of superconductivity. Then we'll go for the type 1 and type 2 semiconductors, and we'll go to the complete theory of superconductivity is proposed by BCS theory. So name of 3 scientists. So that theory not completely what's theory. We'll see the qualitative treatment of that theory. Okay. So these are the 7 chapters we will discuss in this modern physics course. Yeah. So the question arises, sir, what is the which books we will follow here? So which books we will follow here? See, the best book I'll follow here will be the Concepts of Physics by Arthur Beiser. So Arthur Beiser book I will follow. So the secondly I'll follow Modern Physics by R. Murugesan. So Modern Physics by R. Murugesan. Publications will be S. Chand publications. So most probably I will follow these 2 books only. Okay. So wherever I will follow some other books I will mention at that time. Okay. So anyway, here in your BSc course in Indian universities there are the like proposed books will be their textbooks. So like in Andhra Pradesh state, we'll follow the Telugu Academy book. So that I hope everybody will have it in the textbook. And then second one will be Unified Physics. So Unified Physics. So Sanjeev Gupta, S.L. Gupta, they have written these books. Like Pragati Prakash and Merit Publications will be there. So these two books, textbooks type. They will not have the elaborate material there, but these are okay. So good, you can follow. So the mainly will follow the concepts of physics by Arthur Beeson, and the second one will be the modern physics by Murugesan. So these two you can treat as the reference books, and the textbooks you know already, that is Telugu Academy textbooks for BSc final year students, and the Unified Physics books. Okay, so these two books we can be treated as the textbooks, and previously I said that physics, concepts of physics by Arthur Beiser and the modern physics by Murugesan you can treat as the reference books. Okay, see, you can't get the entire material in a single book. So because, so here atomic physics is the entire one chapter. So one big topic, molecular physics entire one big topic. So okay, so wherever is necessary we'll go through the elaborately, wherever is not necessary, wherever you face some difficulty to understand at this level, will like consciously, like qualitatively will follow. Okay, fine. Follow the lectures. So even in the internet also, in the YouTube, so many courses will be there. So many professors, they have put their material, so in the form of PDFs, in the form of PPTs, in the form of videos in the internet. So you can go through it. Okay. So thank you. So you will follow the course as usually. Okay. Any doubts, I'll give my personal email IDs at the end of this video, and WhatsApp number also you can share it. Okay, so thank you. Okay, well done students. So today we will start the first lecture of modern physics from the chapter Atomic and Molecular Physics. The aim of this lecture will be, firstly I will discuss the Bohr's theory, and we will calculate the hydrogen emission spectrum wavelengths. We will see the different series as Lyman series, Balmer series, and then we will discuss the drawbacks of Bohr's theory. Then we will move to the, if time permits, Sommerfield's theory, or otherwise we will go for the next lecture, and then will be the vector atom model. So the different models to explain the atomic structure and different phenomena of atomic level. Okay, so in the lower standard you may have learned the Thomson-Fleming model, then Rutherford model, and vagaira. So but I will not start those topics. I will start directly from the Bohr's theory. This one is also you may be knowing in your 11th and 12th standard level. So firstly I will start with the Bohr's theory only. Okay, fine. Come to this point of as per language is concerned. So we belongs to the from Andhra Pradesh state, Telugu speaking people. I'll follow the dual language. So wherever is necessary, I'll explain in Telugu also. So wherever is not required, if it is simple, then I'll go through the English only. Because as per my knowledge, many people are coming from the like Telugu medium background. Up to 10th standard, they might have studied in Telugu medium. Even in inter also Telugu medium. To benefit for that type of students also, I'll use the simple language. So even I also don't know the perfect language. So I'll try to explain in English as well as in Telugu medium. Okay, so we'll start today the first chapter, Atomic and Molecular Physics, and that Bohr's theory we will start. Okay, let's go to the Bohr's theory. Bohr's theory of hydrogen atom. Even it is valid for single electron types. There are otherwise Bohr's theory of hydrogen atom are single electron systems. So single electron system, obviously hydrogen atom. Suppose helium was also single electron if it is ionized. If you remove one electron, then it will be the singly ionized helium, and doubly ionized lithium. They are also of single electron systems. But mainly the Bohr's theory is concerned to the hydrogen atom. Okay. First we will see the postulates. What are the postulates of this theory? If any theory is there, so first of all there will be a postulate. What is the first postulate? So the first postulate will be circular orbits. So circular stationary orbits. So this is the first one. So electrons revolve around the nucleus in a circular orbit. So I'll take a circular orbit. This is the circular orbit. Obviously there is a center. So this one will be the center. This one will be the center. So at the center what will be there? Nucleus will be there. What is the charge of a nucleus? So Z multiplied by E. Z will be the atomic number and E will be the charge. And let's say here the electron is revolving. Let's say this is the electron whose charge will be negative. So now you consider any one reference line. Let us take this x-axis itself will be the reference line. Now you locate the electron. I am locating the electron will be here, whose radius vector is r and which makes an angle, let's say phi. So mass of electron I am taking, it will be the m, and it is going like this with a velocity v. Okay, fine. So circular stationary orbits. So that means according to Bohr's theory, electrons will be revolving in a circular orbit. That path, generally the path of electron is known as the orbit. They are stationary. What is the meaning of stationary here? Means as long as it is revolving in that orbit, it will not radiate energy. So that is the condition, stationary orbit. So here you observe one thing, r is fixed here, radius is the fixed. Then what about phi? That is radial angle, polar angle, generally it is called as azimuthal angle. So azimuthal angle, it will be varying quantity. This varies. So varies. So this quantity will be varies. This will be fixed. R is fixed. That is constant. That is constant. Azimuthal angle will be varying is here. Circular orbits. So that means nucleus will be at the center. Assume it is a heavy. Suppose in case of hydrogen atom, here it will be the proton and here it will be the electron. We know that the proton will be the heavier. We can think of like that it will be at rest. Okay. Assuming proton is at rest at the center, electron is revolving in this circular orbits. These are called the stationary orbits according to Bohr. Then what is the second postulate? The second postulate will be is angular momentum is quantized. Angular momentum is quantized. Angular momentum is quantized. Now let's see here. First of all, angular momentum we will calculate. So here, what are the forces acting on the electron? What is the force is acting on the electron? When the electron is revolving around this, so we know that the force acting on the electron is the electrostatic force. So electrostatic force on the electron will be acting in this direction. This is the electrostatic force. Now we can calculate torque about this point on this electron mass m and charge will be revolving in this direction with the velocity. So what is the torque on this electron? Here the force will be is equal to electrostatic force, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Charge of the nucleus is Ze, electron is E by r square into r cap. It is radially inward. Then what is the torque acting on the electron about the nucleus? So torque acting on the nucleus, this is the force. So torque is defined as r cross f. So f the direction is also r cap. Everything will come, this entire thing, that is minus Ze into E divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square, r cross r. So r cross r cap. Obviously cross product of two vectors, same vectors, it will be 0. So cross product will be 0 means it is 0. Torque is 0. Torque acting on the electron will be 0. Once torque is 0, then what can we say from here? So torque is 0, then what can we say? So torque is equal to rate of change of angular momentum about the nucleus. L will be the angular momentum vector. Torque, here is the force acting on the particle, that is electron. The force will be radially inwards. The radial force torque will be 0. Once torque is 0, then what we can say here? Angular momentum will be is equal to constant of motion. Angular momentum is constant of motion. So this is what very well known thing for us. Okay. So angular momentum of the electron about the nucleus will be constant of motion. But what he is saying here, angular momentum is quantized. Angular momentum is quantized. What is the meaning of that quantized? I will explain. Angular momentum is quantized, that I will explain to you. Angular momentum will be quantized, that I will explain to you. So that means what he says, both according to Bohr, it will be integral. So angular momentum, so d phi will be is equal to n multiplied by h, Planck constant. The limits will be, the angle is varying from 0 to 2 pi. This is the condition where L will be the angular momentum. So integration from 0 to 2 pi will be is equal to nh. Even some books the same thing will be written like this. In place of L, they will write 0 to 2 pi p phi into d phi will be is equal to nh. This is the quantization principle. So from here we came to know that L is a constant of motion. It will come out L integration 0 to 2 pi into d phi will be is equal to nh. D phi integration we will get, it is 2 pi is equal to nh. So angular momentum will be is equal to nh by 2 pi. This is what you have very well known thing. So angular momentum of the electron will be is equal to integral multiple of h by 2 pi, where n is an integer. What is n will be here? N is an integer. Of course 0 is not allowed. 1, 2, 3 and so on. It is simply a positive integer. Okay. So this is the meaning of quantized. So momentum corresponding to the coordinate phi. So phi is the coordinate here, then corresponding momentum will be p phi. So integration from starting point to ending point, starting here and again back to ending, 0 to 2 pi p phi d phi is equal to nh. H will be, obviously it is a Planck's constant. This is the meaning of angular momentum will be quantized. Okay. Then what is the third postulate here? So what is the third postulate here? Third postulate is related to the energy. So I hope it is clear. Second postulate is clear to everyone. Then third postulate I will discuss. Third postulate is related to the energy. So here the electron is revolving in a circular orbit. Every orbit will possess some energy. When electron is in that orbit, it will have some energy. If it is changed, energy is also changed. So when an electron revolving in that circular stationary orbit, it will not radiate any energy. But when it jumps from one orbit to another orbit, it absorbs or it emits energy that is also quantized in the form of h nu, that is a photon, quantum of a photon. So that is proposed by Max Planck. That is, so whenever electron jumps from one place to another place, the change in energy must be is equal to h multiplied by nu. H will be the Planck constant, nu will be the emission of radiation or absorption of radiation frequency. Okay, so it can be E final minus E initial. So that can be written as h nu or hc by lambda. Nu is the frequency, lambda is the wavelength. So that means electron is revolving around the nucleus in a circular orbit. Maybe this is the one circular, maybe this can be the another circular orbit, this can be the another circular orbit. Okay, we can give the names will be, this is n is equal to 1, this is n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3 and so on. Okay, fine. So if electron jumps from, say for example, it is going from this place to this place, or it can go from this place to this place. When it is going from inner orbits to outer orbits, we say that it is absorbing energy. So that means it absorbs energy from outside and goes to the higher orbits. So absorption of energy will be taking place in the form of h nu. So where delta will be the energy difference. So let's say here energy is E1, let's say energy is E2. The difference in the energy will be the this photon energy. Okay. Now even it can emit also. Suppose initially the electron in the higher orbits. Let's say initially the electron in the higher orbits. It can come to the lower orbits by emitting the photon. So by emitting photon, it can come down here. So this will be the absorptions here, this will be the emissions here. When the electron in the higher orbits, it will come to the ground state to attain the stability by emitting a photon. Then again that emission will take place with a frequency or with a wavelength is governed by this relation. Okay, this is according to the Max Planck. Okay, these are the three main postulates of the Bohr's theory. So based on these three postulates, so what Bohr did actually, he calculated the emission spectrum of hydrogen atom. Okay, so how to calculate the emission spectrum? That is the wavelength that is emitted when electron is coming from here to here. It is coming from 2 to 1, wavelength corresponding 2 to 1. It is coming from 3 to 1, wavelength corresponding to 3 to 1. So that means you just calculate the energy difference and substitute here, you will get the wavelength. But how to calculate the energy? How to calculate the energy? So calculation of energy. Calculation of energy. So how to calculate the energy? What is the way of calculating energy? So what is the total energy possessed by it? The total energy possessed by it will be, so kinetic energy of the electron and electrostatic potential energy or interaction energy. So what is the kinetic energy expression is simply half mv squared. Only electron is moving, nucleus is at rest. So there is no contribution from the nucleus. Only contribution comes from the electron. So electrostatic potential energy, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So Ze into minus E divided by r square. Okay. So then in this way you calculate the energy. So here in order to calculate this energy, we required V and R in terms of the standard physical quantities. Then how to get that one will be, we have the two relations. One relation will be angular momentum is quantized, that is nh by 2 pi. But what is angular momentum will be equal to? So angular momentum will be equal to r cross p. So r cross p, cross product of position vector and velocity vector. So when you do that, I'll get here mass into velocity into r is equal to nh by 2 pi. This is one relation. What is the other relation will be? So for circular orbits, who will provide the necessary centripetal force? That is necessary centripetal force mv square by r is provided by the electrostatic force of attraction 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught nucleus charge electron charge divided by r square. So you take this relation between V and R, and this is another relation between V and R. Two equations and two unknowns. Solve for V and R. Substitute V here and substitute R here. You will get the total energy expression. So what I will do here, I will write directly the total energy expression. So that total energy expression I will write. I will see from the book and I will write directly the expression for total energy. So no need to remember. So I will write directly the total energy expression. It will come as total energy expression is minus m e power 4 8 epsilon naught square h square into m e power 4 by 8 epsilon naught square h square into z square by n square. Z is atomic number, n is a quantum number, that is principal quantum number we call it. So very well known to you this expression. Okay, so m e power 4 constant, 8 epsilon naught, remember m is the mass of electron, e is the charge of electron, epsilon naught permittivity, h is the Planck constant, z is the atomic number. Obviously it is valid for singly electron systems. Hydrogen atom, z is equal to 1. N will be the orbits number, principal quantum number we call it as. Okay, this is the expression. So once I know this expression, what you do? You take this expression energy and you substitute here, and you will get the corresponding lambda. Okay, so that a lambda also I will write directly. Note down. Okay, students. మనం ఇందాక ఏం నేర్చుకున్నాం, టోటల్ ఎనర్జీ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ చూసాం కదా. ఆ టోటల్ ఎనర్జీ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ ఇక్కడ సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేస్తే మనకి లాంబ్డా వస్తుంది. సో జనరల్గా మనం ఏం చేస్తామంటే 1/λనే కనుక్కుంటాం. సో వేవ్ లెంత్ ఆఫ్ ఎమిటెడ్ ఫోటాన్ వెన్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ జంప్స్ ఫ్రమ్ హయ్యర్ ఆర్బిట్స్ టు లోయర్ ఆర్బిట్స్, అంటే హయ్యర్ ఎనర్జీ స్టేట్స్ టు లోయర్ ఎనర్జీ స్టేట్స్కి వచ్చింది అనుకోండి. సో అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది మనకు 1/λ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు 1/λ hc. సో సారీ, సో ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది 1/λ బై hc. సో ఇక్కడ 1/λనే మనం డైరెక్ట్గా కనుక్కుంటాం. సో దట్ 1/λ విల్ బి, సో ఇక్కడ 1/λ లాగా ఉంటుంది, ఈ ఫైనల్ మైనస్ ఈ ఇనిషియల్ డివైడెడ్ బై hc. సో అది పెట్టండి. సో ఫైనల్ ఎనర్జీ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ నాకు సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేశాను, ఇదంతా సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేస్తే నాకు ఇలా వస్తుంది. సో వేర్ me⁴ 8ε02 CH³ అనేది కాన్స్టెంట్, దట్ ఈస్ నోన్ యాజ్ ద రెడ్బర్గ్ కాన్స్టెంట్. సో దీన్ని రెడ్బర్గ్ కాన్స్టెంట్ అని అంటారు. ఓకే, సో దీని నుంచి మనం ఏం రాబట్టామా ఫైనల్గా అంటే, వెన్ అన్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ జంప్స్ ఫ్రమ్ హయ్యర్ ఆర్బిట్స్ నుంచి లోయర్ ఆర్బిట్స్కి వచ్చేటప్పుడు సో దాని వేవ్ లెంత్ ఎంత. సో ఇట్ ఎమిట్స్ ఫోటాన్ అని చెప్పాను కదా. సో సపోజ్ థర్డ్ ఆర్బిట్లో తిరుగుతూ ఉంది, థర్డ్ ఆర్బిట్ నుంచి ఏమైంది, ఫస్ట్ ఆర్బిట్కి జంప్ అయింది, వచ్చిన కిందికి వచ్చేటప్పుడు ఏమొస్తుంది, హైయర్ ఎనర్జీస్ నుంచి లోయర్ ఎనర్జీస్కి వచ్చినప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, ఎనర్జీ అనేది రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది ఇన్ ద ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ ఫోటాన్. మరి ఆ ఫోటాన్ యొక్క ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ ఎంత, వేవ్ లెంత్ ఎంత అన్నదానికి ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ మనం రాబట్టాం, ద వేవ్ లెంత్. సో 1/λ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు r ఇంటూ 1/n ఫైనల్ స్క్వేర్ మైనస్ 1/n ఇనిషియల్ స్క్వేర్. ఇనిషియల్గా ఎక్కడ ఉంటుందమ్మా, అది హైయర్ స్టేట్స్లో ఉంటుంది, 3, 4, 5, 6. ఫైనల్గా ఎక్కడికి వచ్చింది, 1కి రావచ్చు, 2కి రావచ్చు, దట్ డిపెండ్స్. ఓకే, now we will see here some series, emission spectrum of hydrogen atom. Okay, Lyman series, Balmer series, so like that we will see. So remember this expression will be helpful for us now. So ఇప్పుడు మనం ఏం చేస్తామంటే, there are some series will be there, that series we will see here. So what is that series will be? So Lyman series. First I will see the Lyman series. Lyman series. In this Lyman series, electron initially it can be anywhere. Initially it can be in the second orbit, third orbit, fourth orbit, fifth orbit, and so on. But finally it must come to first orbit. Finally it must come to first orbit. So that means if it can be like first orbit, n equal to 1, n equal to 2, n equal to 3, not to the scale, n equal to 4. So the electron can jump from this place to this place, emitting a photon. The electron can jump from this place to this place, emitting a photon. Electron can jump from this place to this place by emitting a photon. So this will be the Lyman series. So this is the first line of Lyman series, which is coming from 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1. I can calculate the series. First one I calculate. So first jumping from 2 to 1. So then how to calculate this line will be 2 to 1, 2 to 1 will be. So 1/λ, that means 1/λ 2 to 1 will be equal to r into. So 1 by, finally it is 1 minus, initially it is at 2, so 1/4. Then what I will get here? 1/λ to 1 will be is equal to r into 1 minus 1/4, it will be 3/4. So from here lambda to 1 will be is equal to, so 4/3r. Okay, now you calculate the r value. So r value approximately 912 angstroms. So lambda to 1 is equal to 4/3 into 1/r1 value will be 912 angstroms. Okay, so now you calculate the value, will get it. Now even second one also, what is that, 3 to 1, how to calculate for 3 to 1? In the similar manner, 3 to 1 how to calculate? So 1/λ 3 to 1 is equal to r1. So finally 1, initially it will be 1/3, 3 square will be 9. So then if I simplify it, what I will get, 1 minus 1/9, 8/9. So 1/λ 31 will be is equal to 8r/9. So from here lambda 31 will be is equal to 9/8r. Okay, so then again 9/8 into, so 1/r value is equal to 912 angstroms. So from there we can calculate. So this is the way of calculating the Lyman series wavelengths. So the first line, second line, third line, fourth line. Anything can happen. If an electron initially at 3, then it will come to the 1. So that is the line which is emitted. So that line is generally known as the Lyman series second line. So next one I will discuss will be the Balmer series. So in this, like, Lyman series over, then go to the Balmer series. Lyman series, then Balmer series, Patchen, Brackett, Fund, Humphrey. Like this many series will be there, but I will not go through all those things. I require the Balmer series. There is some importance for it. So Lyman series over, Balmer series. The Balmer series. What is the Balmer series? So initially it can be any level like 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. But finally it comes down to the 2. So where it has to reach, guys? Finally it has to reach to 2. So energy level diagram we can show n equal to 1, n equal to 2, n equal to 3, n equal to 4, n equal to 5. So an electron can come down from 3 to 2, electron can come down from 4 to 3, electron can come, 4 to 2, that is 5 to 2. So let us go for the first one, 3 to 2. Then 3 to 2, this is the formula. So it means 1 by 3 to will be is equal to R into 1 by, finally it is coming to 2, that is 1 by 4. Initially it can be 3 to 2, so that is 9. 1 by 4 minus 1, so 5 by 36. So from here lambda 32 will be is equal to 36 by 5R. So 36 divided by 5 into 1 by R value 912 angstroms. And approximately how much it will come? So 5 7 ja, it will be 5 7 ja 35. Okay. So then 7 into 9. So around 6500 angstroms, 6600 angstroms. This is the red color. The wavelength corresponds to red. So next line will be 4 to 2. So 4 to 2. Then how to calculate 1 by lambda 4 to 2 will be equal to R. So finally it is 2, that is 1 by 4. Initially it is 1 by 16. Then how much I will get here? So 16 minus 4, 12 by 36. So then from here, so lambda 4 2 will be is equal to 64 divided by 12R. So 4 3 ja, 4 1 ja, 16. 16 by 3 into 912 angstroms. Then approximately 3 5 ja. Then how much it will come? You can calculate it. You can calculate also, you will get the accurate answers. So one is red color. After red color, what it will come? So VIBGR. It will come approximately 4800 or 4900, something like it will come 4800 angstroms. Okay, so last line if you want, what is the last line? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, what is that? Infinity. Infinity to 2. So infinity to 2. Then finally it is 2. But initially infinity. So 1 by infinity. What is the 1 by infinity will be 0. So then finally I will get. So last line I will get. What is the last line I will get? So lambda, last line, lambda to 2. So will be is equal to 1 by lambda to 2 will be is equal to R into 1 by 4 minus 1 by infinity. So 1 by lambda to 2 equal to R by 4. Then from here lambda infinity to 2 will be is equal to 4 by R. So 4 into 912. So what is that? Approximately 3600. So 3800 or 3600. Thanks. So that is the violet color. That will be the red color. So it is going from VIBGR. So WebGR colors we can see. So violet to red color that we have noticed. Then there is some specific names he has given. The thing is that these lines experimentally observed. Balmer calculated these things experimentally because these are visible to us. What he noticed, when hydrogen emits a wavelength, the wavelength consists these lines, Balmer series, these lines. This already we have the data. This data is there. Then later on both proposed this theory and he calculated that the wavelengths of this. These are exactly coincide with the experimental data of this Balmer. Okay, that is the greatness of Bohr's theory. So he gave the names for this. This line generally known as the H alpha line, hydrogen alpha line. This is the H beta line, H gamma line, like this. Okay, so like that there are remaining series also there. You can go through the remaining series also. Now, come to the major point we need to discuss here. What actually the scientists observed under a high resolving power microscope, they noticed that these lines, H alpha lines and H beta lines and H gamma lines, will split up into more number of lines. So this line split up into 2-3 lines. This line is again split up into 2-3 lines. This line is again split up into 2-3 lines. So this splitting of lines. So this is the one line. We see this is only one line. But under a fine resolving microscope, we found that so there are more number of lines are there. So a line splitting into number of lines is known as a fine structure. Okay. So this Bohr's theory is unable to explain that fine structure of emitted lines. Splitting of a line into number of lines is the fine structure. Even this Bohr theory is unable to explain what about 2 electron system, what about 3 electron system, what about 4 electron system, what about multi-electron system, how to understand, how to calculate the wavelengths emitted in case of a multi-electron system, that is also unable to explain. So that means multi-electron system it is unable to explain, and another one will be it is unable to explain the fine structure, even it is unable to explain so many like photoelectric effect, then in Compton effect. There are many phenomena Bohr theory cannot explain. Okay, fine. To overcome this, like this line is divided into more number of lines, another model will be proposed. That another model is the like Sommerfeld's theory. So that we will see, we will start and we will see the result. Okay. So what are the failures, what are the drawbacks of Bohr theory? So it is not valid for the multi-electron systems. It is unable to explain the fine structure. Even it is unable to explain some of the things. Suppose if the same hydrogen atom under the magnetic field, so like intense magnetic field, high intense magnetic field and low intense magnetic field, then again each line will split up into number of lines that this theory is unable to explain. Even Stark effect. So what is the Stark effect? Under the electric field, under the electric field again these lines will be split up into number of lines. So why this splitting occurs when electric field is applied? Why this splitting occurs when magnetic field is applied? So all these things unable to explain this Bohr's theory. So obviously మనకి ఏమొస్తున్నప్పుడు new theories has to propose. That new theory will be the like Sommerfeld theory. Then again that theory also has some limitations. Then vector atom model will come. Then again that one is also some limitations. Like then pure quantum mechanics will come. That quantum mechanics will explain all and things. Okay. So this is what actually Bohr's theory. Then what it has predicted. It is predicted up to this level. It is like Balmer series, H alpha line, H beta line, H gamma line. So very good. So energies and all these things it has explained. But multi-electron systems it is unable to explain. So fine structure, splitting of a line into more number of lines, it is unable to explain. Balmer series, then it is unable to explain Stark effect, Zeeman effect and all those things. Okay, well done. Okay, thank you.